Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of February 17, 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 6 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first article. Title says 4 cases of South Africa variant of virus found. So this article mainly talking about new mutant virus of this South Africa. So this article is important regarding health, which comes under GS paper 2. So in this article we are going to discuss context and some important details which are highlighted in this article, and also we are going to discuss what is the South Africa variant, and we are also going to see what are some concerns regarding the South Africa variant, and as well as we are going to see what is this mutation. So because of these mutations we are experiencing new variant of this coronavirus. So we have UK variant, we have Brazil variant, we have now South Africa variant. So this article is very important because as we know we came up with this COVID-19 vaccine. Already we came up with massive vaccination drive also. So because of this, whether these vaccines which are prepared now are efficient to counter this South Africa variant, UK variant or not. So if at all this vaccine which is not having some efficiently working against the South African variant, then we can have to continue our research and development and we need to come up with new vaccine here. So this is important concern regarding the South Africa variant. Now let us see this article in great detail. First let us see context. Here context is 4 cases of South Africa variant of the SARS coronavirus 2 and 1 case of Brazil variant that have been detected in India. As of now only UK variant is detected in India, but now there are 4 cases of this South Africa variant and also 1 case of Brazil variant that is detected in India. So if you see some details which are highlighted in this article, it mainly says that South African variant of the SARS coronavirus 2, it spread to about 44 countries, and this variant has shown mutations in receptor binding domain, that is in spike protein. So where is the spike protein is present in this coronavirus? As we know we have capsule. So inside this capsule we have genetic material and around this capsule we have this spike proteins. So in this spike proteins there is some mutation happen. So because of this mutations now new variant of this South Africa that came into picture. And now let us see some facts regarding this South Africa variant. So this South Africa named the variant here is 501 by V2. So it is also called as N501Y mutation. So this mutation mainly happens in this spike protein. So what will be impact of these variations or mutations? So the impact here is it will affect how virus behaves in terms of its ability to infect or cause severe disease or even escape from this immune response made by vaccines. So it is one of defense mechanism that is seen in this SARS coronavirus. So as we know, whenever this virus which is infecting any person, so that person will start producing these antibodies, right? So whenever these antibodies are produced within this person, so whenever any virus that is entering, then these antibodies they detect those virus as antigens, and these antibodies they start with fighting these antigens. So whenever we are seeing this type of mutations in this SARS coronavirus, it will mainly escape from these antibodies. It will escape from our immune system. How it will escape? So because of changes in the spike protein, here antibodies which are present in body that may not identify this virus as an antigen, and there will be no attack by these antibodies on this antigen. So in this way this virus that can also escape from this immune system of humans. And one more important concern here is based on some preliminary experiments, the monoclonal antibodies they are effective against this SARS coronavirus. They are less effective against this South Africa variant. So it is one cause of concern. If we are giving any vaccines to people mainly to prevent against this coronavirus, so these antibodies which are formed because of giving that vaccine, that may not effectively act against this South Africa coronavirus. So because of this it will also decrease efficiency or efficacy of this vaccines. And now let us try to understand what is this mutation. So we already discussed number of times regarding this mutation. So now it will be helpful for revision purpose. So what is this mutation? Mutation means whenever there is change in genetic sequence of virus. So that is mainly RNA in case of this SARS coronavirus. So whenever there is any changes in genetic sequence of this RNA, then it is called as a mutation. So why this mutation happens? So virus mainly makes a mistake while it is making copies of itself. So whenever there is any mistake which is made by virus, that will lead to this variations or mutations here. So these mutations that will result in a significant change in protein structure, and also that will also have impact on the course of disease. Course of disease will also be altered. So these are some important facts that you should remember regarding this article. Now let us see next article. Before saying this article, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. We came up with this current affairs package course. In this course, we are focusing on current affairs and also mains answer writing practice. If you ask me what is importance of this current affairs, without proper understanding of this current affairs, you cannot clear UPSC. About 50 to 60% of questions, either it may be prelims or mains or even interview, questions will be asked from this current affairs. And if you are getting any static questions, they also have some basics regarding this current affairs. So because of this mastering of current affairs, it is important to clear UPSC. And if you are talking about this answer writing practice, without proper answer writing skills, you cannot clear UPSC mains. So when you started your preparation on day 1 onwards, you need to focus on this answer writing skills also. And if you are enrolling to this course, we also providing you prelims practice questions on week basis along with video solutions like how to approach those questions. So in this way, this course it is focusing on exact demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Please try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. For further details of this course, please contact us. Details are given in description box. Now let us see next article. Title says India, China pull back troops from Pyongyang. So regarding this article, we are discussing from last 4 to 5 days, that is regarding disengagement at line of actual control. So this article is important regarding international relations which comes under GS paper 2. So this is one important new development regarding this disengagement process between India and China. So now let us see what is this development in this area. So context says that withdrawal of tanks from the forward areas of south bank of Pyongyang Lake area. So in this area there is withdrawal of tanks that is seen. And if you see some more details which are highlighted in this article. First one is India and China, they have started pulling back troops in large numbers in both south and as well as north bank. And this People Liberation Army of China, that is PLA Army of China, they made dismantling tents and as well as bunkers and also moving their equipments here. So this is one of important step, and it is also this disengagement process it is also in a good pace. So Chinese troops, they have started clearing from Finger 4 and northern bank, and as well as Chinese troops, they will withdraw to east of this Finger 8. And if you're talking from Indian side, Indian troops, they will move to Dan Singh Tapar post, that is near Finger 3 here. As we know, according to that disengagement agreement, so from Finger 4 to Finger 8, it is mainly created as buffer zone, correct? So because of this, here we are moving back to Finger 3, and here Chinese army, they are moving east towards this Finger 8. So these are some important developments in this disengagement process. And now let us see next article. Title says combating vaccine hesitancy. So this article mainly talking about this vaccine hesitancy. Now let us try to understand this article in great detail. So this article mainly said some introduction why vaccine hesitancy that happened. And it also said about some examples regarding vaccine hesitancy, because this vaccine hesitancy it is not new to India. Already we faced number of incidents regarding this vaccine hesitancy. For example, regarding oral polio vaccine and as well as measles, mumps and rubella, that is MMR vaccine in Tamil Nadu. And next one is this article mainly said that how to come out of this vaccine efficacy, like some need to be done, some urgent needs or way forward. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under health. If you see context, it mainly says that from last year onwards, we are facing problem with this COVID-19 global pandemic. So now this year, that is 2021, which is most awaited year mainly for this COVID-19 vaccine. So now this vaccines, they are came into market and they are available in market. So response for this vaccine, which is very lukewarm, that is very low. Despite there is increased availability, increased affordability, increased accessibility of these jabs regarding healthcare sector, sanitation and frontline workers. So though there is increase in availability, though there is increase in affordability, then what happened, there is response from people's side is very low here. Okay, though there is adequate supply of vaccine is present, procurement of this vaccines, it is just half because people are refusing to vaccinate. Okay, so this is important problem regarding this COVID-19 vaccine. So if you see some details regarding this vaccination drive, so we started this vaccination drive from January 16th onwards, and we started giving vaccination for priority groups. First one is healthcare workers, frontline people, and as well as people who are above 50 years of age and people who are below 50 years of age with comorbidities. So these are 4 priority sectors. Okay, priority groups, they will be given vaccination first. And in this vaccination drive that started on January 16th, we gave up with mass vaccination drive regarding this healthcare workers and as well as frontline workers here. So as of now, there are 2 vaccines that are approved for inoculation. They got emergency use authorization by DCGI. And next one is first important vaccine, it is from Pune based SII, that is we can say Covishield. And next one is Covaxin from Bharat Biotech. It is Hyderabad based pharmaceutical industry. So these 2 vaccines, they are mainly given right in this vaccination drive. So this vaccination regarding some information regarding this vaccination like safety, allergy, that is not yet given. And also we see this efficacy data which is not yet released regarding this Covaxin here. And recently Covaxin also released some information like vaccine cannot be suitable for certain individuals who are facing allergy, who are pregnant, or who have any bleeding abnormalities, and as well as lactating people, etc. So because of all these things, there is increased vaccine hesitancy. So what is vaccine hesitancy first? According to World Health Organization, it mainly says that reluctance or refusal to vaccinate despite availability of vaccine services. Though there are increasing availability, increase in affordability, people are not coming forward to take this vaccination. So because of this condition, there is increased refusal to this vaccine is seen. So this condition is called as vaccine hesitancy according to World Health Organization. So it is not new in India because we also faced this vaccine hesitancy incidents in India regarding oral polio vaccine. So especially Uttar Pradesh mainly witnessed this vaccine hesitancy. There is sudden dip of uptake of this vaccine, that is oral polio vaccine here, because Muslim community was mainly stuck by misconceptions that whenever we are taking this polio vaccine, that is mainly leading to illness and also infertility. So because of this misinformation, that led to vaccine hesitancy regarding this oral polio vaccine. Not only this in this UP but also in Tamil Nadu state, there is also one vaccine hesitancy that arose mainly regarding this measles, mumps and rubella vaccine, that is MMR vaccine here. So what is reason here? Reason here is misinformation or disinformation along with cognitive, social and algorithmic basis. So there is leading to increased vaccine hesitancy in India. So if you are talking about concerns, so vaccines do not have data regarding safety concerns, efficacy and as well as side effects. So due to this, there is a record-breaking timidness of vaccines that is developed in India. And if we see some data, so in this data we are going to see 2 important surveys. So first one is survey which is mainly conducted by local circles. It mainly says that about 69% of respondents, they said that they will not rush to vaccinate themselves against pandemic. And if you see next survey, it mainly said that about 55% of healthcare professionals, they are mainly hesitant to take this vaccine, and about 64% of people, they want to prefer to go to antibody test before having this vaccination here. So in this context, what is way forward? How can we come out of this vaccine hesitancy? So first one is people who are mainly skeptical. So if they do not want to take this vaccine, so they can be persuaded mainly through providing some scientific facts and as well as proper communication between them. And next one is we can also pause before you are sharing any news regarding this COVID-19 in social media. So whenever you are seeing any post, if you want to share any post in any social media like Twitter, Facebook, etc., so you have to think once, pause once before sharing that data here, because we need to go for fact check any newspaper, etc., before sharing that misinformation. And next one is we can also use celebrity effect. So as we know, mainly to bring up behavioral change in people, we can also use some personalities here like celebrities, etc. So these celebrities mainly serves as agents of positive social change, and as well as they will helpful for erasing skepticism also. So in this way, this infodemic around these vaccines, they can be tackled mainly by actively debunking myths, misinformation, and as well as fake news. So this is gist of this article. I hope it is clear. And now let us see next article. Title says the viability of two proposals. So here this article mainly talking about two proposals, whether they are viable or not. So first one is 4 capitals in our country, and second one is Supreme Court bench in South India. So these are two important proposals which are talked in this article. So this article will be very important regarding polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. So this article mainly talking about two proposals, as I said earlier. So this article mainly talk about what are positives and what are negatives regarding those projects. So you can expect these types of questions in your mains, especially that too in paper 2, GS paper 2. Now let us try to understand this article in great detail. So this article mainly talking about 4 capitals in India, Supreme Court bench in southern India. So if you see what is background, what is context here. Here West Bengal Chief Minister asked why India should have only 1 capital and suggested that there should be 4 capitals. So if you're talking about viability of these 4 capitals in country, here if you're talking 4 capitals means already we have 1 capital in Delhi. So we need to go for 3 other capitals in other regions. That means we need to go for building of parliamentary buildings in other 3 places, and we can also go for accommodation of all these MPs in these states. So whenever there is any parliamentary session that is happening, they need to go to Delhi, right? So whenever they are going for these parliamentary sessions, these residential accommodations which are given to these MPs, that will be vacant for months after every session. So this is first important problem, they will be vacant. And next one is providing security for all these member of parliaments. That will be huge burden for this state police, because as we know, whenever there is parliamentary sessions, so these residential accommodations, they will be vacant. In these vacant times also, they still to be guarded. So there will be extra burden for the state police. So this is first important thing. So this article mainly gave some facts regarding this capital of India. So this part will be very important for prelims. Okay, please make note some points regarding this. So if you see Kolkata or Calcutta was once capital of country until King George V announced in December 1911 that Delhi would be new capital. So first capital of India is Kolkata or Calcutta, okay, until December 1911. So Parliament House was opened in year 1927 and government buildings they inaugurated in year 1931. So later on we went for shifting of capital. So if you are talking about shifting of capital, it is not a simple task. It is a huge and a complex task. So why it is a huge and complex task? Because recently if you are talking about example of Tamil Nadu Chief Minister mainly proposed to shift the state's capital to Tiruchirappalli in central Tamil Nadu. So in that event, that led to huge burden on state exchequer. And next one is Supreme Court benches in southern India. So this is second important event. So first one is why this is in news, because recently bar councils of 5 southern states, they called for Supreme Court bench in southern India. So it is also one long lasting demand from since some years. So if you see what will be merit here, the merit here is long distance between the southern states and Delhi is very high. So distance between this southern state and Delhi is very high. So because of not many people, they can afford to travel all way to New Delhi to engage with lawyers and as well as to plead their cases. So because of this, Bar Council of India mainly demanded for Supreme Court bench in India. Okay, and next one is Attorney General suggested that 4 benches of Court of Appeal with about 15 judges, they should be come up. That will mainly reduce burden of Supreme Court, and it will also enable judges to go through each case thoroughly, and it also helps to deliver a well thought out verdict here. So these are some important advantages whenever we are having some regional benches of Supreme Court in different parts. And now let us see next article. Title says Toolkit Case Role of PJF under Scandal. So in this context, we are going to understand what is this toolkit case. So from 3 to 4 days onwards, regularly articles regarding this toolkit case is appearing in news. So as a UPSC aspirant, you have to remember what is this toolkit case. So what are provisions which are mainly raised by government for arresting of that Disha Ravi here, who is Belgium-based environment activist. So this article is important regarding polity, which comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to understand this article in great detail, and I will try my level best to make understand what is this toolkit case for sure. So context says that recently climate activist, she is mainly belonged to Belgium. So Belgium based climate activist Disha Ravi in India was arrested in Greta Thunberg toolkit case here. So after arresting her, here Delhi police mainly filed FIR and also issued some non-bailable warrant against her. So first of all, we need to understand what is this toolkit. Toolkit, in simple words, it is a set of essential guidelines or suggestions to get something done. So it mainly a set of guidelines or set of suggestions that to get something done here. So these toolkits, they are mainly released by government. For example, Department of DIT, that is Internal Trade, okay, Department of Industries and Internal Trade, DPIIT, okay. So this department mainly came up with one toolkit for better implementation of IPRs, intellectual property rights here. So in this way, they may be released by government. So these toolkits, they can also be used during protest. So how these can be used in protest? They contain mainly information to help protesters mainly to promote their campaign, promote their ideas, and they can be used for becoming popular also. So in this recent case, what happened? This Disha Ravi shared a toolkit on Twitter during this anti-farm law. So within some minutes, this post also deleted from this Twitter account, but she came under this Sedition Act now. So if you see what are existing provisions of arrest here. So first one is government mainly enacted Information Technology Act of 2000, that is related to cybercrime and as well as e-commerce. By using this act, we can punish for any crime which is committed to computer or network. And next one is UAP, Unlawful Activities and Prevention Act of 1967, also invoked. And next one is sedition cases under this Indian Penal Code of section 124A. So under these existing provisions of Indian laws, now arrest that made. Okay, and if you see government actions on activists are justified. So how these government action like arresting this environmental activist, so how we are going to justify here. So first one is not all critics are got arrested. We are only combating anti-national, secessionist and as well as terrorist individuals as well as terrorist organization. So this is first thing. And next one is made to prevent individual organizations who are mainly indulging regarding this hatred feeling in country. So they are punished under this contempt of government here. And next one is instances where activists are involved in destabilizing democratically elected government. So in this condition, government can punish them. And next one is mainly to protect sovereignty of India. We can also punish them. And next one is, let us talk about judicial interventions. So first case here is G. Narasimhan and others versus T.V. Chokappa 1972. So in this case, Supreme Court held that persons could not be defamed only if there is a definite identifiable and as well as established evidence. So when there is any identified and as well as definite and established evidence, then only we can go for defamation of so and so person. And next case is Fatma Bibi Ahmed Patel versus State of Gujarat 2008. So in this judgment, Supreme Court mainly held that registration of case against a foreigner for an offence committed outside India was illegal. And in this case, court also said that government had not jurisdiction over such offences. So that means whenever any offence which is made outside of India, so Indian law or Indian jurisdiction will not work, will not act on such types of contents. Okay, so this is gist of this article. I hope it is clear. And now let us see next article. Title says in telehealth, scaling up the Indian advantage. So this article mainly focusing on telehealth. So this article is important regarding science and technology, regarding technology in healthcare, and as well as this article will be important regarding GS2 under health. Now let us try to understand this article in great detail. If you see background of this article, because of COVID-19 pandemic, healthcare providers, they are mainly reassigned from other specialties to this COVID-19. So because of these healthcare providers, they are busy in treating patients who are suffering with this COVID-19. That restricted mainly high quality of healthcare for other conditions. There is decreased access to non-emergency care. So in this condition, WHO made a survey. So in this survey, it surveyed about 105 countries regarding healthcare essential services. It mainly says that these healthcare services, they are disrupted in majority of countries regarding immunization, antenatal care, children care, etc. So this survey also highlights that about 45% of low income countries, in these countries there is disruption of health services of about 75%, that is evident. And about 60% of services, they were at least partially disrupted in the Southeast Asian countries. And if you see, because of COVID-19, that impact is very high in this healthcare services. So if you're talking about especially India, detection of this TB was down by 50% when we are comparing with last year, that is 2019. And next one is regarding this antenatal care. So this antenatal care visits, they are very much come down by 56% till half of this 2020. And there is also stopping of routine checkup for especially this diabetes patients. So there is increased risk of high level of blood glucose level. And this pandemic also further exacerbated inequalities among people. So inequalities in sense of rich and as well as poor. So first thing here is poor, mainly living in rural areas and as well as some other remote areas, they are further disadvantaged because they cannot travel from their village to cities because there is disruption of transport facilities. So because of this, they are not being traveled to nearby cities to get some specialist care here. And there is also one more problem in rural areas here is there is shortage of specialists in many rural areas. And next one is to some extent impact is mitigated because there is accelerated use of these digital technologies. So even in rural areas, there is mobile phone penetration that increased here. So because of this, now people, they are moving towards this virtual consultations to avoid risk of COVID-19 transmission. So whenever people, they are going to hospital and they are forming a queue there, so there will be increased risk of transmission of this COVID-19. So because of this, in this context, mainly people, they are using this virtual consultations to avoid this COVID-19 transmission during this pandemic period. And some of important platforms here is eSanjeevani platform. So this eSanjeevani platform contains two important components. So first one is provider to patient interactions. Next one is provider to provider interactions. So provider to patient interactions, that will connect mainly patients with doctors. Provider to provider interactions, that mainly connect general practitioners mainly with specialist doctors here. So though we are having increased digital technology, still scale is unmet, okay, demand is unmet here. So in this context, we need to increase efficiency and as well as effectiveness of every minute which is spent in this virtual care interaction, mainly to improve efficiency and as well as effectiveness of this virtual care interactions, we can go for an alternative. Alternative here is shared medical appointments. So in this SMAs or shared medical appointments, here patient gets more time with their clinicians here. So this shared medical appointments that will also enable peer support, peer-to-peer learning, peer-to-peer training, and will also improve both productivity and as well as outcomes of many conditions. And if you see how can we go for this shared medical prescriptions or medical practitioners here, okay, medical appointments here means here we have eSanjeevani, and also we have some other telehealth platforms are present. So we could consider offering virtual shared medical appointments. So in this way, patients from different villages or different areas with similar conditions, they can be seen at once, okay, they can be seen at once and remotely by generalist or any other specialist here. So this can be done in this pandemic period, and after decrease in transmissions or in the post-pandemic era. So this type of shared medical appointments that will help mainly to build supportive bonds, that will enable sharing of local knowledge, and it will also attract supplementary providers here. So in this way, it will offer some virtual group such that, as we know regarding this COVID-19 vaccine, there is increased vaccine hesitancy. Mainly to prevent or mainly to decrease that vaccine hesitancy, we can use some virtual groups here. So in these virtual groups, doctors, they can come in contact with people directly, and doctors can explain benefits of this COVID-19 testing, and as well as what are uses of this vaccination, and as well as doctors can answer to the questions of these patients also. So these are some important things that you should remember regarding this article. So this is gist of this article. And now let us see mains question. What is vaccine hesitancy? Suggest some measures to tackle this problem in context of COVID-19 vaccine, and answer should not be more than 150 words. So please try to write answers. So there are all other articles like freedom of speech and as well as security. And next one is regarding India-China disengagement in paper 6. So we already discussed about those topics number of times. So because of this, I didn't take those topics for today's discussion. So if you are interested, please go to that articles also. So by this, we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to join this current affairs package course. Thank you so much.